It's true. I have always been nervous. Very nervous, terrible nervous. But why do you say that I am crazy? The illness made my senses stronger instead of destroying them or making them wither. And my hearing was the strongest of all. I could hear every on the earth and in the sky. I have many things from hell. So how I can be crazy? Listen and see how say I am when I tell you my story. Now pay attention. You think I am crazy, but crazy people don't know anything. But if you have seen me, if you have seen how well I did everything, how careful I was, how much I planned, how well I hid it, I was never kinder of the old man than I week before I killed him.
Here is your breakfast, the tea and the pill you asked for.
Thanks, Guy. You're always so kind to me.
Then, when my head was completely inside the room, I opened the lantern carefully. Oh, so carefully. Yes, I opened it carefully. Just enough for one small ray of light to fall on the vulture eye. I did this for 7 long nights, every night at 12 o'clock. But I always found the eye closed, so I could not do what I wanted to do. It was not the old man who bothered me, but the eye. And every morning, as soon as the day began, I went into his room without fear and talked to him normally.
Good morning, sir. How was your night?
Well, thank you. Just a little cold.
You see, the old man would have had to be very smart to think I every night, at exactly 12 o'clock, I went to watch him while he was sleeping. On the eighth night, I was more careful than usual when I opened the door. The hand of a clock moved faster at my hand. Never before had I felt so proud of how close I was. I could hardly hide my feelings of success. Just think about it. Think I was slowly opening a door little by little. And he did not even know about my secret plans or throws. I louded quiet at the idea, and maybe he heard me, because I felt him suddenly move in the bed, as if something had scared him. You may think that I stepped back, but no. His room was as dark as night, because the old man always closed the windows completely, because he was afraid of people who steal. I knew he could not see at the door opening, so I kept pushing it slowly, slowly. I had already put my head inside and was about to open the lantern when my thumb slipped on the metal clock, and the old man sat up in the bed and said loudly.
Who's there?
I did not move or say a word. For a full hour I didn't move a muscle, and during that entire time I didn't hear him get back into bed. I stayed seated, listening, just as I have done, night after night, while listening to the drills in the wall whose sound heralds death. Then I heard a soft sound, and I knew he was very scared. It was not a sound or pain of sadness. No, it was a quiet sound that comes from a person when they are very afraid. I knew that sounds very well. Many things. At midnight, when everyone was asleep, I heard that same sound come from my own chest. I made my fear ever stronger. I knew that sounds very well. I understood how the old man felt, and I felt sorry for him, but inside I was longing. I knew he had been awake since the first smile sound. When he moved in bed, he tried to tell himself that the sound was nothing, but it did not sleep.
It's nothing. It's just a wind or a cricket.
Yes, he had tried to make himself better with those strokes, but it was useless. It was all useless because death was coming closer to him and was already around him. That's it why he could feel something, even if he could not see or hear it. He could feel that I was in the room. After waiting a long time, very patiently, and not hearing him lie down again, I decided to open a very small crack in the lantern. I did it very, very carefully until a thin line of light came out and I fell right on the vulture eye. It was open, wide open, and I began to get angry, and I looked at it. I could see it clearly. A dull blue eye, with a horrible film it that made my blood run cold. I could not see the old man's face or body, because the light was shining only on the cursed eye. Have I not told you that what you call madness is only very sharp senses? At the moment, I heard a soft and quickly sound, like a clock covering with cloth. That sound makes familiar to me. It was the beating of the old man's hair. It was very more angry, but I stayed calm and just keep quiet. I could hardly breathe. I heard a lantern very still and tried to keep the lantern off the eye. At the same time, the old man Herbert was getting louder and louder. It became faster and faster, louder and louder every moment. The old man must have been very afraid. Louder and louder. Are you listening me carefully? I told you I was nervous. Yes, I am. And now, at midnight, in the silence of the old house, such a strange sound filled with a great fear. For I just controlled myself for a 4 minutes or still. But the herbert got louder and louder. I stood hearing would explode. Then I became afraid again. A neighbor could hear the sound. It was time to the old man to die. I gave a low short. I opened the lantern all the way and ran into the room. The old man cried only one time. 1 second was enough from me to throw him into the floor and put the heavy mattress on the top of him. I smiled happily when I saw how easily everything was, but for many minutes the heart kept beating with a loud sound. Of course, it was no worried, because nobody could hear it through in the walls. Finally, it stopped beating. The only man was dead. I lifted the mattress and looked at the body. Yes, he was dead. Completely dead. I put my hand on his head and kept it there for a long time. There was no even small beat. The old man was really dead. His eyes will not bother me again. If you continue thinking that I am crazy, you will stop when I describe the clever precatus I used to hide the body. Then I was passing, while I died the word quickly, but silently. First of all, I cut her body into pieces. I cut off the head, arms, and legs. Then I lifted 3 boards from the floor in the room, and I hid the remains of the whole. Then I put the boards back so carefully That's no human eye, not even his, could see any different. There was nothing to clean, no stain, no sink of blood. I was too careful for that. A tube had collected everything. When I finished the work, I was full for the morning, but it was still as dark at midnight. At the moment when the clock bells were heard, someone knocked at the street door. I went to open it, Kami.
Hello, officer. What brings you here?
Good night. A neighbor reported a loud scream in this direction. We are here to be sure everything is good.
Oh, the scream was mine. I have had a horrible nightmare. The old man isn't here. He went out yesterday morning. But please, check. Go to his room.
I asked the two policemen to sit down and rest. I was so sure that they didn't know anything. So I put my own chair exactly on the floor above the dead body. The officers were satisfied. My behavior convinced
It's a beautiful house.
Yes,
For
thank you.
my part,
And the weather
I
looks
feel
like it will improve
perfectly
tomorrow.
comfortable. But after a short time, I started to look pale and I wanted them to leave. My head hurt and I heard an abusing sound in my ears. But the policeman staying there, sitting and talking. The sound became louder. I didn't stop and I got louder and louder. Spoke very loudly to forget the sound, but I didn't change. I became clearer until finally I understood that the sound was not in my ears. It was probably very pain. I continued talking faster and louder. The sound grew and grew. And what could I do? It was a low and faster sound. Like a sound a clock inside cotton. I gasped for air. But the policeman didn't hear anything. I spoke faster and with more energy. But the sound grew and grew. I stood up and argued about the stupid things very loudly and while big moves said. The big sound grew and grew. Why? Why didn't they leave? I walking around the room, walking big steps, because I was very angry in those men. But I grew curiously. Oh God, what could I do? I was crazy with anger. I cursed, I swore. And the same about sweat in the chair where I was sitting. But the song was louder than ever else, and it grew continuously. Louder, louder, louder! At the same time, the men continued talking happily and smiling. Was it possible that they didn't hear it? God, no! Of course they heard it and they're suspense. They knew, and they're laughing at my horror. Yes, I took down that joke. It couldn't stare their fake smiles anymore.
Sir, are you okay? Why are you here in the chair?
So pretending evil ones. I confess. I killed him. Get up those boards. There, where his horrible heart is beating.
No, espera. ¿Dónde queda la ferretería de